So are we live now?
We are live
That's good. On YouTube?
on YouTube. We're live on YouTube.
Scary thought. Oh. I am now the host. Did I lose you, Blaine? Oh, here we are.
Okay, there we go. A little bit of problems. But here we are.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
All right.
Live on YouTube. Our first
Live
live
on
show.
YouTube. We're so
And it's going swimmingly.
already. Not bad for a text.
No.
Us old texts. All right, so I'm going to start the timer, and I'm going to start recording here so we can put it out on all the audio channels that we place it to. And here we go. Yes, it is a recording in progress, and welcome to Habs Unfiltered. I'm your host, Blaine Putney. I'm joined by my co-host, Treg Wilson.
What's up?
Matt Smith is unavailable as he is still deployed overseas in Kuwait. If you're following him on Twitter or Instagram, you'll be noticing him getting all swole. He's putting in the extra effort in the gym.
He is.
Good on him.
I think he's
Good
going to
on
be
him.
the most fit guy on the show when he gets back.
I think he already is.
Mm-hmm.
Youngest,
Probably.
best looking.
Hey, man.
I mean,
You can only do what you can do.
sure. So it's the downtime of the season. It's the dog days of summer. There's not a ton going on, but we do have a few items that we can cover. We can talk. We're going to talk a little bit about the World Juniors. So the World Juniors was host due to COVID and is now starting up. August 9th is today, and it's starting today.
Yeah. Yesterday they had an exhibition game. They beat Sweden 4-3, I think.
Yeah, with Joshua Roy scoring the game winner. But
Yeah.
before we get into the World Juniors, I wanted to just quickly mention the change in the Montreal Canadiens, I guess, social media, and that is Marc Dumont has been let go. Now, Mark's a friend of the show. He's been on the show here a couple times, and we hold him in a high regard.
Yeah.
If you want to check out what he's doing now, go to his Substack. Go check out Marc Dumont on Twitter, and check out his Substack. I've signed up. There's some good stuff in there already.
Yeah. Mark, he's been on the show. He's very knowledgeable about Habs. He was doing the Twitch thing, I think, for them for the social media and a few other things. And I guess Montreal decided they just wanted to go in a different direction. I'm not quite sure what they wanted. I know it hit Mark pretty hard because I guess it was a surprise for him, and I hope everything works out well for him in the future. But also I see a lot of tweets on there, people getting mad at Chantal Maccabi. Mark himself said she had nothing to do with it. They don't even work in the same department. She's not his boss. I know she's communications, but communications and social media are two different things. So so you can kind of leave her alone, and that's right from Mark, right on his Twitter. You put it out there. This has nothing to do with Chantel, so quit bashing her. And Mark, being the humble and upstanding guy he is, he didn't put any blame on anyone. He just said they just wanted to go in a different direction, and he was in that direction. So go see him on Substack. On his Twitter, you get the subscribe to it, help the guy out, and there's a lot of great content.
Absolutely. And Mark, we wish you the best of luck on whatever it is you decide to do. We support everything you're doing now. Just keep up the great work, and good things are going to happen. And before we jump into the World Juniors, I just wanted to take this moment to acknowledge our friends over at Boxing Rock Breweries and their latest creation, Puck Off Lager Ale. It's a delicious lager. It's excellent after a hockey game. If you're playing beer league, you and your friends can really look horrible on the ice, but share good beer afterwards. So to our friends at Boxing Rock, thank you very much. No Name Hockey as well is a great supporter of the show. You go to noname.co, nonamehockey.co, check out their wares. Seatgiant.ca is also a supporter. Unfiltered 20 and save 35% off your purchasing fees. Now, World Juniors.
World Juniors.
World Juniors.
So the continuing of the World Juniors is going on here in August. There's been a few, I guess I'll start with this because I wrote about it in the news and whatever. Caden Gooley is not going to be the captain of Canada's junior team. He's not going to play. Speculation from Sean Campbell and Mitch Gallo on the Fan 590. Was it 590? They suggest, they think he played right into the Memorial Cup, which went almost to the end of June. So their thoughts, and now has been no statement by Montreal or anything like that. He also was dealing with injuries from the playoffs and the Memorial Cup, and that's why he didn't participate in the development camp. Speculation that they put out, and it sounds pretty reasonable, is that the Canadians, he has a good chance to make the Canadians maybe next season, or at least play part of the season with the Canadians. And I think they just wanted to shut him down for the rest of the summer, because their camp starts in 4 weeks, mid-September, I think. So, they want to get him as much rest as possible. I'm not sure if he's playing in the rookie tournament or not. They haven't.
I think he is, yes.
Yeah, they haven't really released the names. They just released that they will be playing in it, but they haven't really said who's going to show up at the camp. So he won't be playing. Also, their 2 first-round picks from this year, Slavkovsky and is it Macer? Is that how you say it?
Mazer.
Mazer?
Yeah, I think
they
so,
won't
yeah.
They won't be playing for Slovakia either. So they've been shut down for the summer. They are getting prepared to come over and play in North America. According to Kent Hughes, both of them will be playing in North America this year. He didn't say where, but they will be playing. Messer, he's 19, so he can play in Laval.
That is because he was drafted from Europe.
Correct, not from the CHL. It's a CHL rule that players in the CHL can't play until they're 20. So, and that's just so players, once they hit 19, aren't leaving the CHL, mass exodus of the CHL to the AHL. It's a politics thing. So he can play there. Slavoski could play in Laval, Montreal, or the OHL. His rights belong.
Yeah, I think it's London that holds his rights.
Maybe I don't know who it is.
I'm pretty sure it's the London Knights that hold his rights.
Or he could play there. I'm pretty sure he'll be in the AHL or NHL. So I don't think we have
one or the other. AHL, NHL. That's for sure anyway, for him.
That's the Canadians who are not playing in the World Junior Championship that were actually playing in the championship when it was back in December, but they're not playing now.
Yeah, and the current Montreal Canadian prospects that are playing are as follows: Jan Mysak, Joshua Roy, Riley Kidney, Oliver Kapanen, and Petteri Nurmi. So, for those who may not recognize the name Nurmi, he was the 7th round pick for the Canadians at this past draft. He was an overager, 19-year-old defenseman. Him and Kapanen are going to be playing for Finland. Roy and Kidney are going to be playing for Canada, and Mysak is the captain of the Chechen team, who, by the way, as we record on August 9th, just finished their game against Slovakia, mounted a comeback, and won 5-4, a game in which Mysak scored the game-tying goal and set up another goal.
There you go, Mysak. He'll be playing in the AHL next year, I believe. Mysak. He'll be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to be in Laval next year.
Pretty sure he's going to be in Laval next year. Good for him. I know Nurmi, is that his
Petteri Nurmi.
Petteri Nurmi is going to be on the top line for Finland for their game today. and Kapanen's playing on the fourth line for Finland.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
seen it on Twitter there about an hour ago. And of course, Joshua Waugh, he scored the game winner in the exhibition game that they played yesterday for Team Canada. And he was on the top line for that exhibition game. I'm not sure if I don't see him not staying there, but that's where he was.
Yeah,
So
he had really good chemistry with McTavish and Connor Bedard.
Yeah. And Riley Kidney was a scratch for that game. He didn't play in that game. So we'll see where Kidney ends up, but we'll see.
Well, it's a pre-tournament game, so he might just be the 13th man for them. So we'll see.
You got to remember both Waugh and Kidney were not on the team in December. So
true. Waugh being, I think he was the final cut in December.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that he is on the team and looks ready to go.
Yeah, I mean Joshua Waugh, he got a couple games in the playoffs for Laval last year. He's going to be a guy to watch because he's a fourth round draft pick, I believe, or fifth. Yeah, and he could be one of those sneaky guys that comes in and becomes a solid NHL player, like maybe even a top six. I'm gonna say that's the ceiling, like a second line. But even if he ends up being a third line, 30 to 40 point guy, that's pretty good for a fifth round draft pick. I'm not going to complain about that.
That's a home run for a fifth rounder.
Yeah. So
Earl is really getting his tires pumped right now by the head of development, Adam Nichols.
Yeah. Adam Nichols worked with Sean Farrell and with the Chicago Steel, the United States Hockey League. He was the United States Hockey League overall development person, or just Chicago. I think it was just Chicago.
Chicago.
And he worked with, and he loves them. Again, if you go, I'm kind of pumping my article here, but if you go to my news and rumors article that I did this week, I did a thing on it. But Adam Nichols thinks he really thinks this guy's going to be a superstar. His height, he goes, he does have a height disadvantage, but the way he plays the game, he doesn't think that's going to be an issue for him. He says he's a magician without the puck. With the puck, he's an excellent puck mover. He's an excellent passer, and he said he has an above average shot. Like his development right now is they want him to play more with men. So he's going to be at least in the AHL next year if they want him to play more with men.
He's going to play the NCAA one more year.
Oh, correct. Yes, he's going to play in Harvard. So he's going to play in the NCAA. But Adam, he was pumping his tires hard. Adam Nichols, of course, just got hired by the Canadiens this offseason as their development head of development. And he's a very smart man. He knows his thing, what they're going to work on oh geez, I'm having a brain fart here. They're going to work on Farrell. They're going to work on the way he can stop with his speed, and to use that to his advantage, and also to use his size to his advantage when going up against a bigger opponent. That's what they want to work on in the offseason. So
and with Farrell, you look at his performances at the Olympics and at the World Championships and what he's done at the NCAA so far. I can see why Nicholas would be so excited for him to be arriving soon, and being another fifth round pick for the Canadiens. That if they hit 2 home runs in the fifth round, it out of 3 years, 2 fifth rounders out of 3 years making it to the league. Oh, come on.
Well, I mean, with Farrell was his size, so I believe if Farrell was above 6 feet or 6'1", he probably would have been in the top 2 rounds, in my opinion.
And with Watt, it was more his lack of dedication to training prior to his draft year.
Correct. Waugh had an issue with preparing for in the off season, preparing for the season coming up. I'm pretty sure someone sat down with him and said, buck the fuck up. You gotta, if you want. But Waugh, I guess, is also a late bloomer. People were saying but he's good. He listens well to his coaches and he does what he's supposed to do. But with Farrell, again, and I hate to say it. Actually, I don't hate to say it. These are Bergevin's draft picks.
They are.
These are Trevor Timmons and Mark Bergevin's draft picks, and they were both in the 5th round, and they were scouted very well. Sean Farrell has been a superstar everywhere he went. He's a point per game guy in the Olympics, a point per game guy at the World Championship, over a point per game guy in his first year of the NCAA. He destroyed the U.S. Hockey League in his final year. Of course, he was kind of overaged, but NCAA wasn't having the season that year, so he stayed with the Chicago Steel. So maybe that extra year with the United States Hockey League helped his development, pushed him that much further. Who knows?
Quite possible. Quite possible. The Canadians started this kind of started the rebuild with under Bergevin with picking up as many draft picks as possible. Now, people can argue whether or not their draft plans were correct, but if they hit 2 NHL players out of every draft over the last 4 years, that's a success.
Yep.
If they get more, then it's a massive success. I mean, you're looking at the sheer number of prospects from the last 4 drafts. I think it's around 39, 42, somewhere around there. If they can get 12 NHLers out of that, the sky's the limit for the Canadians to be able to use that depth. And that's really the key. Outside of, I guess, Slavkovsky, there's no one with any possibility of becoming a star player.
Well, I think Caden Gooley's a bit in the air on that one.
Yeah, he's on the borderline, but
he's on the
like
borderline.
A star, like
but
big numbers.
Could you say Slavkovsky is also on the borderline? Because
he's got the potential to get there. I don't know if he will, but he's got.
But did you understand what I'm saying?
Like,
yeah. I mean, I like the pick. I think Slavkovsky will be a star. I'm going to say, especially if he's. I think Cole Caulfield's going to be a star. So,
is he going to be a superstar? That there's no elite superstar player so far out of those years.
And I don't think either one of them, Slavkovsky or Caulfield, are going to be superstars. I don't think the team has a McDavid, Crosby, Matthews. Like, are you talking super elite? Or are you talking like what level? Are we talking Kopitar level? Or are we talking McDavid level? Yeah,
I'm not talking generational talent. I'm just every year.
I don't think as of this moment they have that.
No,
that elite. They don't have a Kovalev, and okay, let's just stick to Montreal terms. They don't have a Kovalev, and they haven't had a Kovalev since Kovalev.
True.
They haven't had a
but
guy.
If they have 15 Koivus.
Exactly. Well, and that's just the point I was just going to make. Like,
yeah,
St. Louis proved, and Anaheim back when they won the cup, they proved. You could even say Carolina. You don't need a Kovalev or a Crosby or a McDavid to win a cup. You need a solid 4 lines, 3 sets of defensemen, and a good goalie. That's all you need. Right?
And proper use of the cap.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll praise Bergevin on his draft picks the last 3 years, and now I'll shit on him about the cap. He threw way too much money on guys who don't meet that money, but he wanted I love Brendan Gallagher. I hate to say it, but is Brendan Gallagher a $6.5 million player? No. But Bergevin loved Brendan Gallagher. He would have thrown, I think, $8 million at Gallagher if Gallagher asked for it. Like it was.
Well, he broke down and cried when he signed him. So.
And that's what I'm saying. So yes, I'll praise Bergevin on his drafting the last few years because everyone shits on him for that. And I think it was more development than drafting that was Montreal's problem. Not really. I mean,
which I think now with Adam Nicholas there, we're going to see something a lot more defined.
And that kind of leads us into our next little segment, I think, that we were going to get into. An article that you wrote about development and stuff. We'll
get to it. We'll get to it. If not in this show, then another show, because you know we need content.
But I think Hughes and Gorton are going to change the way they develop the players. All they've talked about is different ways to develop and I think they're going to develop more on an individual basis than a group basis. Like, this is the way we play. You have to conform to the way I play. And I think Martin St. Louis coaches that way. He doesn't coach everyone the same because not everyone plays the same. And it'll be interesting to see. And I know we said this with 3 coaches now, how Drouin's going to be under Martin St. Louis. But if Martin St. Louis can get that little nibble in the Drouin. Now, caveat to that is Drouin already knows his wrist is never going to be the same. So if he can't get comfortable with that wrist, I mean, you play a lot of hockey, you know how important a wrist is when you're playing hockey. It's like lacrosse. If you don't have good wrists in lacrosse, you can't play because it's all wrist. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see Drouin. Now, I don't want to use his injury as an excuse, but a wrist injury is a very underrated injury that everyone thinks, oh, it's just a wrist injury. But when it comes to hockey, that's an important injury. Like Kirby Dach, I still think is suffering from his wrist injury that he had.
I think this year he's going to look a lot better, but they rushed his return last year, and it showed because he had a horrible season. And it's not because he couldn't skate, he couldn't keep up. It's not because he played on the wing and he had to do a lot of starting and stopping. It was more to do with his wrist. He couldn't get the shots off the way he wanted to, couldn't get them off as quickly. It wasn't as accurate because there's a different feel. Once you hurt yourself, it takes time to recover and get back to where you were. And a lot of his instinctual play with these players. You know how St. Louis talks about playing with pace and making the right decisions at the right times. Well, a lot of the time it's ingrained into the player. Okay, when this happens, I do this. And it's almost instinctual. And that's what's missing when you have an injury.
Yeah. And maybe the same will be with Drouin, but at least he knows now that, hey, I have an issue. I have to change the way I do things. Let's find a way I can still, be the point producer. And I will argue this to anyone who argues he was a 50-point producer his last 2 years on average over an 82 game schedule. Yes, I know he didn't play 82 games. However, those are the facts.
I think this year we're going to see Drouin improve. And it's not because St. Louis is there, and it's not because he's got a fresh start. It's because a contract year. It's a contract year. Exactly.
I honestly believe he wants to stay in Montreal, but I don't think he will. Just
unless
from his interviews, from his interviews, he loves Montreal. He's always out there. He does every charity thing he can do in Montreal. He's blah blah blah. But unless he signs for like half of what he's making now, he's not staying.
Exactly. They need the cap space because they're looking at a contract extension for Caulfield sometime this year. So
and that'll come. I think that'll come before the season ends. So
yeah, I think by Christmas, maybe at Christmas, Caulfield will be signed.
It'll be like a Suzuki thing.
Yeah, once he's Suzuki being named captain as well. Blah blah blah. All right, so back to the World Juniors. We talked about the Canadians prospects that are in the tournament this year. We all know that Canada is going to be a favorite for a medal. I believe the USA is also going to have a really big voice in who. But there's a couple players I want to watch, and I want to get people to take a look at because the 2023 draft I know it's a year away, but it's not just Connor Bedard and Matvei Michkov. There's a lot of really good players, especially in the top 10, where certain teams will be picking.
Yeah, I'd say 7 to 10, personally. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. So I think 5 to 10 in that range is a fair assessment. Now, a couple of guys that I think could be available around there are from Slovakia, Dalibor Dvorsky, a centerman, 6'1", 190-ish pounds. He's a really, really good playmaker. He's got an excellent shot. He loves playing in the dirty areas, and he showed that in today's game against Czechia to start off the World Juniors. He's a guy that could be a top 6 centerman, possibly have the skill for first line, and someone who can actually carry a team for stretches. Another player that is the American. He's a right winger. He's 6'3". He's already 216 frickin' pounds. Charlie Stramel. He's a big power forward, and he is highly skilled. So these are guys I'd like to watch.
Well, yeah, like personally, I'll be looking at defensemen because we need right-handed defensemen. And now, if I'm drafting top 10, I'm not drafting based on need. I'm sorry, especially not in this draft. Now, I will say this. Every year at this time, we say this draft's going to look so good. It's so deep, so deep, so deep. And then as the next year goes on, things change. Is Connor Bedard the clear-cut number one? Yes.
At the moment, yeah.
At the moment, yes. But
if you ask Grant,
if you ask Grant, he's trying to sell subscriptions, so he's going to say maybe not. However, Grant's not. He didn't say he's not. He never came right out and said he isn't. All he said was, look out for Mitch. Was it Michkov? The Russian. Fantilli, and some people have Fantilli number 2 and Michkov number 3. So Fantilli's really moved up the board with a lot of people, and things are going to change. Although you can't look at a guy as an underager in the OHL there. The OHL, is that where Bedard's playing? WHL, and he had 112 points or something like that as a.
Yeah, I think he had 50 goals, or if he didn't, he was right there.
Yeah, and he's an under. So I mean, and he's small. He is small. I'll give him that. And all Grant really said before everyone loses their mind. All Grant really says before anyone loses his mind is that let's not make him the clear-cut number 1 right now. That's all he said.
No,
right?
No, Grant. No.
So this is me defending Grant. This is me defending Grant,
Yeah.
and I agree with what he's saying. Let's not make him the clear-cut number 1. There's 5 or 6 players in this year's top 10 that have going first overall potential.
Right now, yes.
Right now. If Bedard has another season like he had last year, then Bedard's way ahead. I'm sorry, but he is. If he falls
and then
back.
You look at Fantilli, who's going to be going to the University of Michigan.
Yeah.
They've got a really good program. Now, I know there's some issues with their head coach. May not be there based on misconduct, but the program itself is going to be well run once they figure out what to do with the coaching staff. The assistants are top notch at the very least. They have a lot of returning skill. So Fantilli is in pretty good shape. Stramel, who's going to be going to Wisconsin, is going to be under Granato like Caulfield was.
Yeah.
So whoever picks him, they're going to do well. And Dvorsky, he plays in Europe in the Swiss League. I think he's going to be graduated to their top tier, the SHL. LSFest. I'm sorry, the name eludes me right now. I don't have it in front of me, so I can't pronounce it. But they're top division. If he doesn't play there, the Sudbury Wolves hold his CHL rights in Canada. Now, the Wolves have a pretty interesting team coming back, with Goyette standing in, returning as their top centerman. They have several really good wingers. If Dvorsky goes to Sudbury, they have a solid top 6, and they could compete for, a couple of rounds, maybe a surprise. Either way.
Hockey Allsvenskan.
Yes, this is the top division.
Yeah. That's who he's going to play for. Yeah, he's
plays for AIK.
AIK, yeah, and the Hockey Allsvenskan, which is their top league.
Their top tier, top league.
Yeah,
he was in their U20 league, and he was popping goals. I think 20 goals in 33 games.
Yeah, and he had 7. Actually, he played for AIK in the tier 1, and he had 3 points in 17 games. So he did get some time in the top league last year,
which is impressive. He was 16.
Yeah, I'm on Elite Prospects. That's why I was just reading it. So
I'm just going off memory. But those Dvorsky and Stramel are a couple of guys that I'm really looking at. The draft, like you mentioned, I don't know how deep the draft will be, but in the top 10, you're looking at some really high skill.
Yeah.
And that's where the Canadians are going to be hanging around.
And it's going to, and like I'll say, I know people think they're going to be a bottom. I don't think they're going to be a bottom 5, especially if price is not hurt. I think they're going to be a bottom 10. Don't get me wrong. They're not going to be, but I think they're picking 6 to 10, maybe 5 to 10. And that's still not a bad spot to be in this draft. Not at all. So who knows? Maybe they'll get the first overall again. Who knows? And then they'll,
Stranger things have happened.
And then they won't pick Bedard.
I can just see the really weird strut dance that Grant would pull if that were to happen when we're hanging out over at the bar afterwards.
Well, it depends. Grant may say Bedard's the number 1 guy. You don't know. Like he never came out and said he wasn't. So
we'll see. We'll see. All right. So that's pretty much everything we have right now. We're kind of pressed for time because work, I've got work stuff, Navy things.
I have a Lego Star Wars Millennium Falcon to put together. I'm pretty busy. So
you definitely have the better thing to do tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. This is going to get frustrating. I have OCD, so I don't know how this is going to work out.
Well, I mean, I'll trade you. You can do the financial management of a division and the treasury board CBIs, section 32, 33, 34. I'll give that to you and I'll do the Lego.
I have 32, 33, 34 course, but no, I will not do
that. Any final thoughts?
No, just to bring up sponsors, Liftoff apparel.ca for workout clothes and stuff like that. They have a lot of great selection for women. They deliver anywhere you need it to be delivered. And if you use Unfiltered, you get 50% off.
Awesome. For me, I just want to thank everyone for listening. I want to reiterate, go check out Mark Dumont's Substack. He has provided us with some amazing content over the years, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So let's show him a little bit of support, because his goal was to bring as much of the Canadians world to the fans. So let's take a step towards him and help him out. For our listeners who have stuck with us, this is now season 6. I want to thank you guys for keeping us around this long. And so are we. All right. There's that. That's done.
We're still live, baby.
We're still live. So for those who are still on the live stream, this is not going to be broadcast on Stitcher or Apple Podcasts or anything like that. Fuck it. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you guys checking us out and helping us with this project. I'm looking forward to when Matt returns so that we can actually have a good looking face to throw onto this.
Oh, you can actually view the stream while you're doing the stream. I didn't know this.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's a little bit delayed. But yes, you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for the live streamers, I want to thank you guys for checking in with us as well. Make sure you go and you check out the Apple Podcasts and, Spotify. Get those numbers up for us. The more you help us, the more we love you. So thanks a lot, everyone.
Yes.